Right. Hello, this is Richie from the Metal Cell Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Horrenda once again to the show. We have Aaron, we have Mark, and we have Darragh. How are we, lads?
What's the story? How are you?
Hey, Richie. How's it going?
Yeah, I was just talking about it there earlier. The last time you were on was June last year, and little did we know what was going to happen this time in June. Nothing at all happening, and whole country is in lockdown. Who would have predicted it, lads?
Took us all by surprise.
Absolutely.
Fighting through it one day at a time.
Yeah, let's talk about, first of all, this one that I'm really looking forward to. Looks class, is Axe Wound. It's yet to be released, but he put up a few pictures, teasers, as we will say. What's the lowdown on that?
Well, we shot the video over 3 weeks, so we're finished shooting the video now, and now we're going into the final stage of cutting it all together, getting it ready to go out. We're aiming for sometime mid October for it to be released, okay. But we can't wait for people to see it because I got treated like shit to get that stuff done. I can tell it.
I had fun though. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, because he got to torture me.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Cosmo Palace. How did you come across him?
Oh man, Angel was great.
Angel, is it? Okay.
He's been on my radar for a while. Like, you know, the stuff he's done with Dead Label and a whole lot of sort of bands is just, you know, next to none. And we were doing, well, pretty much what was our only show this year was the Metal to the Masses show. And he saw us play and he came over and he was like, oh my God, you guys are incredible. And we're like, and I was like, oh man, I'm a huge fan. We got to work together. And then little did we know that was it. that was all the gigs we were going to do this year. So when it came to it, we're like, right, let's arrange something. And obviously anyone who was in the competition got a discount anyway, because, you know, Steve and Angel do that kind of deal with Metal to the Masses, so sound to them. But yeah, we set it up and, you know, it's just, we didn't think that it was going to just click as well as it did. Like, obviously, because you're, you know, not working with somebody before, you just kind of find your way. But Angel just has the band down to a T. Super professional guy, absolutely incredible. Better than I ever could have thought. Like, even going on Reputation, which has always been stellar. And, you know, even looking at the dailies of what we shot was great. But man, like, I think this is really going to... People are not going to expect what this video is.
Excellent.
Let's put it that way.
Excellent. And what about concept? Did you all share in a concept, or did Angel bring his own ideas to it?
We were lucky in the way that after seeing us play a Metal to the Masses, he kind of got a sense of, you know, how we are sonically and especially performance wise. And through that, he kind of developed an idea. And it was also lucky that during the lockdown, we released our new album. Yeah. So he got to listen to it like a little bit prior to the release. And he just went through all the songs, and the one that stuck with him was Axe Wound. And we kind of but it was like all the free time we had because of the lockdown, we were just throwing ideas back and forth. A really nice creative process. A lot of just throwing ideas around and really working off each other. And the kind of just finally getting around to getting the video done, even to start shooting was like it was an amazing experience. Especially like, because, you know, he was able to take his point of view on the song and the concept he got from it, and like he's able to express it himself through his art, which is the music video. Yeah. And like as Darragh was saying, like the few little bits and pieces we've seen so far, including a few of the little teasers we put online, like we're super happy to have worked with him.
Yeah.
One of the crazy things as well, like initially we had other ideas, but as this situation developed with social distancing and all that kind of shit, it became kind of very difficult to actually do anything bigger. So it presented us a new challenge where, like, how do you shoot a music video with social distancing? You know, it's one of those things where, like, obviously we're still jamming together, and you know, that's fine, but when you start involving other people, you're like, well, where's the line between being considerate and being dangerous, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's the thing where, like, initially we had a much bigger concept, but you just can't do that, you know? So we had to kind of figure out a way around it, and fair play to Angel, we're able to have a much more smaller concept, but it actually works really, really well, and we're extremely happy with it because it's something that we didn't consider. But again, like, this is our first time around in the music video thing, and we got extremely lucky that we're working with someone who is so extremely talented.
Yeah.
So it just worked.
With recently Words That Burn as well. That's a new video by him as well, as far as I know.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The whole idea behind the song, is it a kind of a mythical story?
Well, what ended up happening with the album is that the album Díoltas is based. All the songs are based off tragedies, just the just obsession with various tragedies. So Axe Wound was just kind of like this kind of idea of. I kind of took the idea of, like, during and after the famine, people being forced, like ripped away from their lives, from their home. And like the various ideas and concepts I could run from that. So it's mostly just a song about being, like, torn away from something. It could be seen as mythical or just even like a nature thing. Just something there that really tears you away from something.
Yeah. Because I want to kind of go through. I want to give the listeners a preview of each song, actually, through your own words, because it is a fantastic album, lads. You're to be commended on that. Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I don't think he disappointed anybody. We were all waiting for it for quite a while, including Josh as well. I interviewed Josh, and he was wondering, did it drop, when I was talking to him, and I said, no, not yet. And
we were sitting on it.
Yeah.
What's annoying about it is we had this plan that just fucking didn't work. You know, it's like that we were supposed to drop it back in March. You know, gone over to England to play with Darragh and Turner Slaughter Cult a day before lockdown hit here. So we couldn't go, you know, and then England happened. So we were kind of shopping around labels, trying to shop around, launch an album from scratch in a pandemic is, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But Sudden Strike, the lads up north, looked after us, and, you know, they've been great. So we're working slowly but surely. We were getting the physicals out, getting the CDs, vinyl, tapes, all that stuff. They're all coming. But yeah, we got to the point where we were sitting on it, and we're like, look, we've written all these other songs. Let's just, you know, release this and let people enjoy it, because it was the middle of June, or like not July, and you know, things were terrible. Everybody wasn't able to do anything. We're like, well, look, this might not be the right time, but it felt like the appropriate time, because people, you know, give people something to really enjoy, and the response has been great for people. Like, I couldn't believe it myself. It's very bizarre, really. You're like, oh, you like the noises that are in my head? Cool. And then with the lads, you know, we're as we've developed the songs and as a band, it's crazy. Like, going from execution, initial idea, through gigging to recording, and even when we recorded in the album initially, working with Josh was unbelievable. But myself and Mark went down again another day and kind of fixed it. And I even said to Mark, I said, Mark, this is a 6 out of 10 album. We need to go in and fix it. We went in and we came back out, and I said, right, now we're happy. Now it's an 8 out of 10. I can live with this. And yeah, you know, and that's what people were thinking. We're saying, oh,
it was a fantastic day.
Yeah, it was a really good day, you know. But we went in and we kind of retracked some of it and fixed here and there, and then I was like, right, whatever happens, you know. And Josh is absolute, you know, key to that.
And even when, yeah. Yeah, even when we were on the bus on the way up, just to fix the things, we just talk about it. Stop talking for an hour on the bus, get our thoughts through, and then get into the studio and just bang it out. And then we'll just look at each other, go, you know what, we just did it.
Yeah.
We just managed to fix those bits within the time space, and it's only about a couple of hours, if I remember back then we did it.
Yes, so we recorded the whole thing over 4 days, and then we were like, we had that one day left. And after listening to it, like, right, we want to change these kind of things. So we went in and fixed it. And after that, I was like, right, this is what we kind of wanted, because myself, I'm the kind of person that would delete the whole album if the guys didn't control me. I was like, let's just delete the whole thing and start again.
Jeez,
and we didn't have to do that, because it's like, it's not the way I wanted it. So,
I suppose if you're so invested in it as well, Darragh, you can't kind of pull yourself out of it. It's good that the lads are able to say, look, Sonny, small bits need to be fixed.
No, absolutely. Like, as I said, it's a Horrenda stopped being just me when Keith and Jay joined. Aaron as well. Once we stopped playing the same songs and were able to grow, and Aaron was able to take up the writing aspects of it and really kind of grow and develop, that's when Horrenda really kind of became its own thing, which is, that's what we've been. And then Mark joined and everything just kind of clicked. So kind of that album was kind of like that process going from start to finish, where it's really a really good representation of where we are as a band. But still, you're playing the songs for so long and you're like, they need to sound properly. Now, sadly to Aaron, we rushed him when he was doing vocals. Just like, quick, get them all done. Go. So we got 3 hours and that was about it. So, at least we learned from that you don't do that, but it was what it was,
I think that is the standout part of the album, is Aaron's vocals right through. It's incredible. You've grown into that role, man. And I certainly cannot wait to hear new material. A lot of people have commented on it. I don't know, did you tune in on the forums as well about our review of, was it Doom? Was it you gave us?
Oh, Doom Tranquility, yeah.
I've been a bit all over the place. I've been trying to keep up with as many people from the scene that are actually still doing videos and stuff. And I got to watch a bunch of your stuff with other bands, and I was quite enjoying it. It's just like with college and everything. And then we tried to stay busy. I think that was the main thing when this lockdown happened. It was just like, we can't stop. We can't, despite all of our plans being uprooted. Originally on the 12th of March, we were supposed to play big gig in London, and when that got cancelled on us, when we had to cancel doing it, the gig still went ahead, but then all sorts of mayhem kind of came out of it. But it really kind of pushed us back. But the one thing was, it's like, all right, we have the album finished. We can't allow ourselves to falter and drop everything, because we were in such a roll. Yeah. With everything going on, everything was really looking good, and so there was a point during lockdown where I had seen a couple of other bands do it, like especially like the Scratch. They were like, look, we might as well just release the album because everyone's stuck in. Yeah. They need something to keep them going.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah.
So we just said, here, look, we'll take a gamble, see how people react to it, and to be honest, I think we were all a bit shocked by the response we were getting from people.
Absolutely.
And we're just so glad that people are enjoying it. Like that's the whole thing. Like, they're giving us an avenue to unleash something within us and really just put it down, and they're willing enough to listen. So like, I'm so happy that like you and other people have really enjoyed the album. Like, it means a lot to us.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, one thing we have to say about yourself and all the Cork lads and the whole scene, like, you guys have been great. Like, even though we don't get down there as much as we'd like to, the support is very much appreciated, and we do keep an eye on what happens down there. Like, I watch your show all the time. So I think it's great. And
thank you.
And anytime we hear you guys well, is this the same band? You know, it's like, it's that kind of thing, you know, because for us, we're so close to it. We're like, we just kind of do what we do. And if we like it, well, then that's the main thing. But the fact that people have, you know, bought so much merch and, you know, really supported us, it's been great. You know, anytime we run a sale or launch a bit of merch or drop a bit of music, people are like, oh, they're really into it. So it sucks because we can't come down and play.
I know.
But we're not forgetting it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, cool. What made you choose Josh actually over? Because like there's a plethora of great producers out there.
Okay, well, this is my call. This is my call, right? No disrespect to anyone else, but Josh is the best.
Okay.
In my opinion, going today, right? I love a lot of what the guys do. The track guy is great. We work with Gav a lot. There's so many great young producers and established producers out there. But I know what I like. And I like really heavy drums. And there's no one who produces drums like Josh.
Yeah.
And that's why. And basically, when what happened was, we told the story last time of how we did Nerve Gas. You know, that was his audition basically.
That's right. Yeah.
To do the album. Yeah. And then based on that, it's like, whoa, okay. Well, you've got yourself the job here. You know.
Yeah.
So that's why we went with Josh. You know, it's like everything just kind of lined up. He understood what we were. He knew how to make everything sound the best that it could. And even in the time frame we gave him, like we only gave him 4 days, and been able to do it in that time period was incredible. So if the question is, would we want to work with other people? Oh, absolutely. I'd like working with everybody, you know. Everyone knows that. But for Horrenda at this point, Josh was the right guy and the best person for the job. Yeah.
You also did a split single as well called Cra. Is that CRA? With Fortnot.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
That's right.
So again, this is one of the great plans we had for 2020, where we were going to do a bunch of splits and kind of experiment and stuff, and that didn't really happen. So we were just kind of like, we like the Fortnot lads. We've gigged with them a bit. We said, right, we'll just we'll set something up. Then lockdown happened, and myself and Mark, like we had half a studio set up for all of us, kind of. Except for Jay, because we didn't see it coming. So now we've rectified that, where we can all kind of record from home and stuff.
Yeah.
But we're like, right, let's work on something. The Fortnite lads had something recorded before lockdown. We didn't. So myself and Mark were like, right, let's just work on this. So we recorded it. We were able to get drums and all that kind of stuff sorted. Got Aaron to do vocals and Keith to do bass and stuff like that. And we just kind of popped out some new material that we were writing on, and you know, it's okay. We're happy with it. Like the production is a step down, but it's a nice raw demo to kind of give a taste of where we're going.
Yeah.
And you know, it is what it is. We decided, let's be creative. Let's kind of push ahead, and dropping some demos in lieu of playing gigs was what seemed right at that time. And it was all kind of a taster to build up to the album anyway.
Yeah. Austin Sweetenham did the artwork for it then.
Yeah, but that's all Fortnot's call. We were just like, hey, here's the tracks, and the art was, it looked cool. Cool. Again, it was a thing that we were asked to do, and we were happy to do so.
Yeah. Again, how did you come across Neil O'Sullivan for the artwork for Díoltas?
Neil's the best, man.
That's some statement.
No, Neil's
I see Neil's stuff everywhere, man. Everywhere I go, it's just we always see Neil's stuff, and then when I found out we were getting him to do stuff for the album artwork, we were like, yeah, that makes sense.
Neil is the pride of Cork, let's put it that way. And if you guys don't, from an artistic perspective, I love his stuff. I'm a huge fan. I came across him through Dahi. Dahi's solo stuff, he did the art for it, and then I got him to do the Díoltas album, and it's one of the best pieces of art I've ever seen.
Stunning.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, we need to make this album good. So that was kind of the same thing around, and I said, look, we want to get you for the Horrenda album. And he didn't disappoint, and he also did the Horrenda shirts.
Yes.
Also is, I'm seeing those around Dublin a lot, which is weird, but appreciated. And man, it's just we found. pennies one day. But no, we just found the way. What's great about people we work with, like we like to take risks, but when we find people who actually understand the band and really get where we're going and what we want to do, we kind of hold on to these people, because
of course, it
just all kind of clicks. Exactly, yeah. And Neil's just kind of guy where you're like, look, we need this, and he'll come back. Even for here's the thing: on the Horrenda shirt itself, there's a little bit of ogham above the baller's head, and it actually says Díoltas. Who else is going to do that? No one. Neil's
I could put Colin Bulger into that framework as well, because he's a lot of hidden stuff.
Well, we haven't worked with Colin Bulger, but I tell you what, I would like to.
We are blessed in this country with fantastic artists.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Big shout out to Neil. It's great that he gets acknowledged on this show as well. So yeah, we might get him on actually, because I've gone through a few of them already to talk about their art and stuff, because I'm a big fan of art and the way it's portrayed in the metal scene in Ireland as well. These guys have to be acknowledged and hopefully get to more people so they can use their talents as well,
Oh, for sure. And the thing about it is, we're always looking out for new artists, new material, people to work with. So just because we haven't mentioned you, it's because we're not aware of you. But exactly, once we find out, we'll be in touch, because we have a lot more material coming, right? So
I just want to go through then maybe track for track, just a brief synopsis so people can figure out what maybe the song is about if they're not sure, or what's the idea, or what were your thoughts recording it. Maybe Aaron, if you take the first one, say there, I'll give it to you. Balor, how was the whole process of developing that song?
Well, Balor is actually it's one of our oldest songs, and we had actually released it in demo form before, and we actually changed the name of it, and it's just the track it was actually written by Darragh, and it was about it was just this thing of it was the idea of putting paint on your face in the mirror and becoming something you're not, like this, just that energy. It's one of the main reasons we wear paint on stage. It's that becoming that
becoming more than yourself, more than just a person. And that's the thing, like a lot of people wear paint because it's a gimmick. We don't do that. We wear it because it kind of helps get in that frame of mind. And it's like kind of that point when you're unless you put on paint, you don't really know what it's like, but that's kind of that transformation, and that's what it's kind of written. But yeah, that's one of our oldest songs. I wrote that in Darragh Kenny's house. We were playing a riff, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. So that's where I actually wrote it. And by the time we changed it to Balor, it's like it kind of works because it's this I theme, and Balor's obviously the I figure. And it's just it's so much better now because obviously we sped it up. We changed the composition of it. Mark does a lot of really good rhythm in it. There's some new leads in it, so it's its own kind of thing now. But it's still what we started us out with. Yeah,
and it's a great opening track as well. It sets the whole theme to it really. That's one thing I love right through the whole album as well. There's it's really well paced and really nicely structured as well. Mark, do you want to take the next one? Dian, is it pronounced Dian? Yeah, Dian.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Again, like what Aaron was saying about Balor in terms of where its originality comes from. Dian was originally from the song Raestra from the Neronian, and from there we kind of like approved it with different ways of variation, but it still has that foundation from Raestra. It was just named differently for the album, and we kind of added a few variations that weren't on Raestra. And what you hear at the end of the track, Dian, going into Axwell, was like, it was me and Darragh's idea to put some samples together. So I just went online and tried to find something to correlate, between the two tracks to break it through. And so I just found it, something online that was very intense, and it doesn't, and what you hear is like multiple overlays of, a woman being terrified in this, on the phone to an emergency call to the police or something over, like, being a kidnap or something. So that kind of, brings that, intensity that we have strived through the album. We kind of had to add something to it. Now, the original idea, when me and Darragh were talking about that, thinking in behind all of those overlays was we will have something like a escape or some sort of noise to kind of in. But then at the end of the day, once we just played it as it is, as you hear it on the album, we kind of like, yep, that works for, especially for our shows as well. Like when we do the noise, it just works. So again, Deanne is just pretty much an approval up from Restart from the Lonely Times, and stuff that you might not hear from that's now on it. So yeah, that's what Deanne is.
Cool. We talked about Axe Wound, lads, there. What about Díoltas title track, Darragh? I'm sure you've plenty to say about that, and why was it named that as well?
Yeah, so there's a few things to throw in. Shannon Bowman is obviously a huge influence on Horrenda as far as like a part of the band, like pretty much. Really good friend of mine, obviously, but he does keyboard. He actually does the piano intro in the album, so I just want to give him a shout out there on that.
Cool.
And cool thing about Deanne is actually has the little bass thing that was just from our live shows. Axe Wound literally is a Haunted song I wrote after listening to a lot of The Haunted, so that's why it sounds like that. I like The Haunted a lot.
We rip off people, man.
We don't rip off people. Just whoever I listen to, and then you're like, oh, that's a cool riff, and it's like, but see, a lot of these songs. What's crazy about them is what I love about it is the fact that we get to try them out live. And we're like, oh, this works. For example, Keith doing the tapping thing in Deanne, that's just something we came up with live, and we're like, right, we're gonna do that. And then we just kind of went forward. So that's what I'm saying. Like, this album is not something that we just threw together. It's something that
the songs became very natural because we were playing for so long. And then once we all kind of clicked together after Mark joined the band, all the songs, we like even stuff that we had pre-recorded. It's just true the constant playing them live every week, every practice. Just it became more natural.
Yeah, it just became
they were ready to go. They were ready to go on to be like recorded.
Exactly, and that's something that kind of that's how the Díoltas came along, right? So again, the same kind of thing where we'll just be writing, and then I'll throw a riff, Mark will throw a riff, or Keith will throw a riff, or Jay would just be like, "Hey, I want to do this thing." And what happened was Keith was like just playing this very simple three note riff because he really likes Sleep, the band Sleep, and he goes, "Let's just do a Sleep song." And we're like, all right, cool. So then we started just kind of jamming this kind of really doomy stuff, and I started doing stacking delays. So on my pedal board, I stack delays. So I have one delay pedal that is the Horrenda delay pedal, and then there's another one which is stacked on top of it, which is Big Dreamscape. So it amplifies the song out. And we were doing this song for a long time. And then during Metal to the Masses 2 years ago, I came up with lead parts on the stage. I'm like, oh, actually, that works quite well. Yeah, because why we call ourselves Black and Jazz, because we will play the songs, but we will start like improving them as we're playing them. Just because we're like, this sounds way better, and it also keeps us interested. So that kind of came up to it. And then when Mark joined the band, it freed me a lot. It freed up a lot of room for me where I can actually play lead and play more complicated parts because I don't have to play all of it myself, right? So as that song developed, it really became a song that we can play in 6 minutes, 4 minutes, or 8 minutes, depending on a set. And we can really kind of have that weird atmospheric jam thing into it. And that's what we kind of like. So trying to capture that was very difficult. It's the only track on the album that doesn't have a click because we said to Josh, no click.
Right.
Because we wanted to retain that feel of these songs are alive and they need to be captured that way. Yeah. So that's what we kind of had to do. And then when we listen back to it, we're like, absolutely, that's the title track because it's the most eerie track that we have that you can really kind of just sit back, turn the lights off and enjoy and go on a bit of a journey
Yeah, actually, spot on there. Yeah, I'd understand that sentiment. Next one is a bit of a strange one for me. Craven.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to? Who wants to take that one?
Okay. So there is an established tradition in the band that we will always have a guest on on anything we release. We love Craven. Craven is such an amazing artist, and Chris is like a really sound cool guy. And we said, "Hey man, do you want to do a track?" Absolutely. And there you go. And then Mayhem did it. So I was like, "Oh, man. Okay." They released a very similar track, so we're like, "Oh, okay. Well, fair enough." Okay, so that's why.
And actually, you picked out this one for me to play on the show, and we'll have a listen to it. And I think it's actually one of that, Nerve Gas and Díoltas. The three of them are my standout favourites. I absolutely love this, so we'll give a listen to Doom Tranquility. Hopefully you can hear it. Can you hear it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I love the build up to it and the samples as well. Works really well.
That intro was done by Mark, and I threw some samples on it, and he loved it. This is really Mark's track.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that sample, that was actually, funny enough, that sample was months before I joined the band. I decided to do something with the piano that I have in the studio, and I played something down in octave 2 and just played a chord like C and E flat or something really doomy. So, which obviously the title Doom Tranquility is like that doomy feel, and then the samples then come along after. Like this myself and Darragh's exchange of craziness. The beauty.
I cannot wait to see that live, man.
It's one of my guilty pleasures to play on stage.
It's just quality, like it's fucking class.
No guilty because it's so loud now. So loud, I
One thing I love Keith's bass lines in this.
Super.
Recording the vocals for this is very funny as well.
Yeah.
Just doing that chorus about 3 or 4 times each time.
I don't know how your voice didn't blow out, man.
Neither do I.
Crowd singing that back to
That's the part I actually sing on stage as well. To myself, underneath all the hair. That's all I'm just like that's the bit that I always say because I enjoy it actually a lot. It's a really good little part. This bit was
You can tell what I'm saying as well.
This bit was actually added in the re-record section because initially Mark did all the guitars. I'm like, I want to add on this. So he goes, no, track, and then we added this onto it and actually really made the track a lot heavier.
Oh yeah. Savage.
This groovy bit just works so well. This is when I want to get in front of the car and just have the groovy
Would you believe Jay drum for 12 hours straight? That's what happened.
the beat itself.
Yeah.
Just a few times of Guinness and off you go.
That was it.
Even do it.
lads, that's just absolutely brilliant. What a song. I'm so fucking proud that it's an Irish band have come up with something so good. And the fact that, like, a lot of us, as I said to you before, are not really into black metal, but anybody could enjoy that. And I think Danielle said it as well, that, like, when that's played live, he will have people shouting that back to you, you know?
And that's what it's all about, man. Like, it's, you know, it's all about having that hook. One thing that we tried to do is always have that little hook. You know, like the thing with Josh, we'd record a track and he'd start singing bits and pieces after it, and you're like, yeah, that's you know, it's a good track, you know. It's like, look, I love black metal, we all do, but you got to have the hooks or else.
Yeah. Jack from Gallock will agree with that all day long as well. Yeah. It was funny because we were having that debate on the forums about the sound of it, especially myself and Evan loved the fact that the bass was more up front.
Absolutely.
Than the guitars, you know, and Jack wasn't criticising it, but he was just saying it was just a bit strange that he found that the guitars were a bit too low for it, and myself and Evan wouldn't be too, we'll say, experts in black metal, but I just thought that's there for a reason because Josh did it.
It's the groove, right? It's like, look, I started my music career as a bass player, and I'd still write songs from a bass perspective.
Okay.
So it's like, where's the groove? What can people dance to? What can people kind of get into? And it's like, if you hide the bass, you get rid of the heaviness. Plus, if you have that real punching bass, you know, it's like, that's going to carry the track. So yeah, like, it's what Josh decided to go for. And it sounded better in the mix. Like, obviously, there are bits that we can, you know, maybe turn guitars up here and there. But I think it adds to it. It sounds very unlike a lot of other...
Yes.
You know, black metal or even metal in general, because one thing that I don't know what happens in metal where they just hide the bass, and it's like, what's the point? I know Metallica did it 30 years ago, but you know, even they stopped doing it.
Course.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, as I said, look, massive thumbs up from all of us for that song. Incredible.
Well, that's Mark's baby, so I know, you know.
Thanks very much, Richard.
Yeah, well done, Mark. And, pleasure. In fairness, the vocal performance again, stand out. Okay, that's so
funny song to play, yeah.
Aaron, do you want to take a shot at Dawn? What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, all right. It's a surf rock song.
Yeah. Internally, we call it the surf song, or because Jay doesn't know the names of the songs. He just goes, "Is this the one with the surf song, surf beat?"
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's fun.
It's just a really fun song to play. I think it's one of the weirdest parts of the album. It's possibly even weirder than the Craven track, because it was based off of an old idea that we were going to record an album based around the horrifying events of World War One. It affected Nerve Gas and it affected Shut Down. Yeah. And then Shot Dawn just became this kind of really fun, like kind of bouncy, aggressive tune to play live. And it's you know, I think it was just a really fun song, and we had to put it on the album. We love surf rock music because we're huge fans of like there's a group of like all these black metal surf rock cover bands called the Mayhems
and the Burzums. Yeah.
And we were like, could we do that with distortion?
But what's weird is as well, like this is, I was listening to a lot of early Gorgoroth when it is, and there, like a lot of early Gorgoroth, it sounds like that, you know, but we kind of jazzed it up a bit with Jay's drumming, where it's more kind of on that backbeat. And it just kind of came together, and it's a very simple little song. We wrote it in Unit 1, and you know, and then it just kind of became part of our set. So it's just a really, really good track. And I personally, I insist that it's on the set a lot of times because it's just so fun, and they're like, oh yeah, it is fun. So it's just
that's
a good
the
track.
The crowd goes, what?
Yeah. Like, yeah. But it's a nice cool down track in between, like the absolute assault that happens at certain times, you know.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying to you, I love the way the album is structured that way. You know, it's not full head rush, non-stop, blast beats right through. So I think he paced it really nicely. Nerve Gas, another firm favourite of mine. That's when did that come out, lads? Was that last year?
Yeah, it was June last year. Yeah, it was like a month after Mark joined the band.
Yeah.
That was a massive injection, both for the band and the band's ego. It was like, wow, we actually wrote most of that in one day.
It's weird. That's a song that was gestating for 12 years. Like the actual riff itself.
Saying that, back in the first interview. That's right.
But it's like, the fact that it kind of opened our eyes to like how to do black metal, not properly, but like accessible in an accessible way.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, some people are like, look, I'll be honest with you. I said it to the lads. I said, look, I don't feel comfortable doing this fully. And then I'm like, oh no, it's fine, because I was kind of buying into the cult part of it too much. And I'm like, no, you know what? Yeah. Let's just kind of go with what's natural and what feels good for us. And then once I embrace that, I'm like, okay. And even still, again, though, I'll be like, yeah, are we doing the right thing? And then we write a great song,
But Darragh, you're pulling in the likes of me that are on the fringes.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what we decided to do, It's like, I have done the cult thing. We as a band have done the cult thing.
Yeah.
And look, we're not particularly fond of it anymore.
Well, not even that. No disrespect to any black metal bands, right, who'd love to do that, but you hit the wall at a certain point where musically and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of walled in. And what I always loved about black metal was it can be walled in, or it can be operatic. You can have Oishan where he has a saxophone player. It can be all this kind of stuff. And then once we realized, hold on a minute, we're looking at this too small. Let's open it up. Well, then that just kind of hit for us. And we're like, no, let's go with accessible tracks that people can enjoy too. And what works live, because here's the thing about the cult stuff. People don't dance to it. People don't enjoy it. They do enjoy it, but it's not, you don't get that feel from the crowd. You don't get the energy. It's the no mosh kind of thing.
It lacks that bounce, that bounce, thing that just gets you to just start like hardcore dancing.
Exactly. Like you play some of the cult stuff, it won't get the crowd into it. You play something like Axel and the Nerve Gas, the crowd goes mad, right? So you're like, this is more fun for us. This is more true to us. And as you said, you're someone like yourself, Richie, you got a lot of people in, and that's the direction for us. That's where we are as a band now. So, but I will admit, at the start of it, I fell into that cult trap myself, but it's okay, because that's not what black metal is. It's a big playground.
to push on what Darragh said there, it is kind of funny, because at the start of Horrenda especially, we were all very big black metal fans and stuff like that. But like, I joined Horrenda when I was like 18, 19, and your tastes are still expanding. I'll be honest, I don't really listen to much black metal anymore. I'm more likely to be found listening to like Converge or Napalm Death or the new Idols album or something. And it was a conversation we actually had a good while ago about, do we want to be stuck in this, as Darragh said, in that trap where, and I even mentioned it when we were last on your show. It was like this thing of like, well, are all the songs going to be written about Ireland and stuff like that? And I feel like that kind of, it traps the sound in a place where it doesn't have much room to flow and expand itself. So we were kind of like, we're still a black metal band, but like we end up bringing in like, influences from like Fergie.
Yeah, don't say that too loud now.
to like,
but I know what you're saying.
Hard rock songs and everything.
No, it's more just kind of like, if it's a creative process.
Bit of Lizzo.
He is obviously joking, but if you wall yourself in, like, again, like Aishan would be kind of case in point. He's done everything. You can only really go so far by going back. Yeah. And it's the same thing that happens with, a lot of trash modern. It's why I don't like modern trash at all. I kind of hate it. It's because it was done in the 80s, lads.
It's repeating itself.
It's repeating itself. And there are some
Sadly,
bands.
Power Chip passed away.
Yeah, well, that
The
was the
singer
one.
from Power Chip passed
But
away.
even
It was
look
the
at
one that stood out, you know.
But even look at the Irish scene, like Animator. I love Animator because they have that sound where they took the trash parts and worked it into something completely different and expanded that out. And I'm like, that's what I kind of wanted to do with Horrenda. I was like, we can expand this out and really kind of go for it. And kind of, you know, Behemoth did it as well. Like, I'm not a huge Behemoth fan, but look what they did, you know, where they kind of just saw what they were able to go and really push that heaviness and kind of make it accessible. So,
yeah. Primordial Knowing, second last track. Mark, what you think of that one?
As opposed to all the other tracks, this is a conversation we had before with the lads, and like the track itself is very different in a way that it has an atmosphere there that none of the tracks has, and it was written by Darragh himself. Like he wanted to create something that was atmospheric and huge and spacey, that was, you know, and everything else in behind come in and give it that push. I think as far as I've playing it with the guys, you know, how do we add more sound to it? And so, you know, there was a part where when we're building up to, in the intro, up to the fast part, like why not add in that trebly fast, you know, intense picking right through it, and then through that it's kind of like the same as Díoltas, the way with the flow goes. It has this, you know, different variations at different times of the song, and then Aaron's vocals comes in, which brings into that, you know, more of this depressive, suicidal black metal atmosphere to it, and that is why it's very different to all the other songs, because it has that big atmosphere. Sure, Aaron could add to that in terms of the lyrical content to it as well.
Sorry, I missed out on a bit there. My thing cut.
Oh, did it? Yeah. He's just saying about the lyrical context. Primordial Knowing.
The lyrical content to the Primordial Knowing.
So I was very at the time. I was kind of very influenced by there was I was listening to a lot of Dillinger, Deftones, and Nick Cave a lot, and so the sound that Darragh had come up with was quite a very emotional kind of sound. So it's kind of like another song about loss, and feeling kind of safe in one place. It's a lot of the lyrical context is people like hollowed faces full of praise, like it's kind of all calling back to Halloween, and Samhain, and like all these little bits and pieces that like I kind of loved about you know, Irish, like distinctly Irish things, and so I tried to kind of create both like a beauty and like a darkness in the song. That's quite an old song as well. The context in that is a little bit kind of all over the place, but it's hard to describe really. I think it's more of an atmosphere feeling song.
Yeah, that's a song that I remember the first time we played it, and it was in Waterford in the Arts Centre, and people were going mental, and I'm just like, well, this is a hit, you know, because it was completely different to what we'd done at that point. And I'm like, wow, people love this. Okay, cool, you know, and it's a very simple song, but the KISS method works. You know, keep it simple, stupid, and sometimes that's what people like. So,
and the final track, Slua, that's an old one as well, Darragh, isn't it?
Slua is probably the most unique song that we have, in a sense that
we've played
live. That we played live,
that
exactly.
People heard,
that people have heard, exactly. But it's old. It's like very old, and it's a hard track to kind of for us to actually record as well, because it's one of we did record it to a click. That just shows you how good Josh is, that he was able to actually do something that I didn't think was possible, to capture the atmosphere of it. And it's I love it. You know, I wrote it 4 or 5 years ago now at this point, and it's been
added to so much over the years, like crazy. We've just been changing sections, playing it live. I think the main reason it's on the album was because we've released it in like kind of a lo-fi format before,
but never fully properly defined.
We needed to give the song the what we felt it deserved, give it the full treatment.
Yeah.
The album in its entirety is both a callback to a certain older songs that took a very long time for us to write because we were growing as musicians and as a band, as songwriters, and with a dash of stuff like Nerve Gas, Díoltas, Doom Tranquility.
Yeah, you can
those
see.
Those were the newest songs.
Yeah, and you can see. For me, in one way, it could be a departure, like a shedding of a skin now for Horrenda, with in relation to whatever you decide to release yet, be it an EP or an album. Personally, I'm really excited over this new sound, and again, who knows what direction you'll take with it, but I think the grounding is definitely in songs like Doom, Tranquility, and Nerve Gas. I think you have found.
Well, you've caught us. That's exactly.
Look, as I said, if you like that kind of sound, that's where we're going. It's really kind of keeping that. Like there's still going to be songs on the set. I don't think Slough will ever go off the set. I think that's always going to be our closer because it's just we tried to end the set with different things and nothing really kind of ends it like that. So
it ends it somewhat bittersweet, loud, obnoxiously loud.
Yeah,
but there's like a. Especially in terms of the theme of the piece of being chased down by this old folklore beast, and then it just that it's and then the atmosphere just building up until the end, and especially if when we play it live, the end, because we started incorporating some very loud noise elements in between and at the end of certain songs. So by the end of the set, it comes to this nice boom,
big finale.
So it's more of it's over. Yeah, it's more of a show than a collection of songs, really.
Man, that's what it is. Horrenda is a show, and the thing about it is, we've always done it. We've always done it that way. It's why people figure it out. It's like, oh, you get it now. It's not like that was the big problem that we had with our releases, where it was like we weren't able to really incorporate that show aspect. But that's what it is. Every Horrenda release is a different phase of the band, where we kind of unlock different things or go for it. Like there was Dinneroni at times, the Violent Ment, and we change up everything. We change up our stage up here, like performance, we change up the set, we change up everything to kind of fit that, and now we're kind of going into the next phase, whatever that's going to be.
Well, your next phase is to broaden your fan base, really.
But hopefully
to establish yourself as a really incredible live act, and to get to the UK and maybe pick up some tail end tour that might get you to Germany or somewhere like that as well.
Absolutely the plan, man. That's it, but we have this video coming out, and we have a few. Look, we're not done. Well, all I say is we can't talk about it, but we're not done yet this year. This year is while it's terrible for everybody, and it really is for bands, we are not done yet. We have stuff coming.
Yeah.
So
like
really
we'll say, just for the crack then, for 2021, if Horrenda decided to curate your own Irish festival
with Irish bands.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, Aaron, you first, Aaron. I'll go last.
Great. There's too many good bands. Well, if it's to be Irish bands, it's Unyielding Love, Elenchus, God Alone, Baylor.
That's quite good, man. I like that.
If I were to throw in Destroyers. Destroyers are a great fucking band as well. I love Destroyers.
Okay. Go on, Darragh. That's
I'll go. Okay, so I'm gonna go Grey Stag, Dirty Casuals, the lads from Psychosis.
nice.
Oh, there's so many good Cork bands as well. Gaelic, obviously, because you have to. Like, they're just too good. And the fifth one's let's see, Animator, because any chance I get to see Animator, do you want to jump at that? They're so good. It's always a great time.
Mark, you're stroking that beard furiously there.
Yeah, oh well, there's some bands like clues between the both of them. I'm kind of going, what ones? Yeah, I'd definitely go with Grey Stag. I mean, shout out to the boys. Awesome dudes. Love the guys. We all love the guys. Who else? I think Tombs came to mind.
Awesome. Great choice.
Yeah. Elder Druid, for sure. Gaelic, the last time I saw them. And probably Cosgrat as well. That's a pretty heavy lineup.
That's a seriously heavy lineup.
I tell you, one band that I didn't mention, and I probably should. Ever Deadwood. We caught them last time we were in Cork.
Oh yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I've seen them as well.
They're so good. Like that's a band that I'm kind of watching myself, and I'm like, I really like what's going on here. I didn't want to mention Aborted Earth because I'm not going to put my other band in the list that I'm doing. But, that's what happens. It just is what it is.
I love the fact that you could just roll off the tongue so many different bands, and they're so diverse as well. It's great, man. Few things to wrap up. Vinyl records.
That's coming now. The thing about it is, because of COVID-19 just being an absolute asshole, it's made things very difficult. So stuff has kind of come drip fed, not because we wanted it, just because this is when it's available. So we finally got the digipacks. They're available for pre-order. Okay. Have them probably by Friday. So they're up on the website now on the Bandcamp. Excellent. Tapes are being handled by Sudden Strike and the same with vinyl. So they are coming, but I don't know when. Right. So, the best thing to do is follow us on social media. They are coming, they are planned. But digipacks, and here's the thing with digipacks, right? We went for that because it's a really cool format, and also there'll be some goodies in there as well. Like we did a making of documentary for the album. That's going to be in there too. So
nice.
It's worth picking up.
The making of documentary, actually, did you find the sound was very low on that? Yeah,
that's something we learned because
I was wondering, I wasn't sure myself because I was just listening to it today and working. I was going, fucking hell, is there something wrong with my speakers?
No. Sure. Basically, it was the first time we decided it's like the first time you do everything. We didn't really know what we were doing. And now we learned to have an external sound mic, which would help. So the next time we do, because it's weird, like I don't know what, like when me, Mark and Shannon were talking about doing it, we're like, all right, no bands really do this in the scene, and they probably should because it's fun and it's like a good little time capsule. We just didn't realize you need a second sound thing, so that's something we're going to keep doing, because we like doing it. It was good even just to kind of have the crack.
Yeah,
but
any content is good these days, lads. Because we're all just sitting at home not doing anything really.
That's true. Yeah, but anything we do like that in future, we will ensure the sound is better.
That's okay, so I don't have to replace my speakers and work.
No. We just have to do it properly next time.
Okay, so listen, lads, thanks a million again for coming on the show. You have got a nice fan base in Ireland, and I think it'll grow steadily with your content. You're going about it the right way. I've singled out those tracks for me, and I think it's nice to acknowledge the older stuff as well. That's all done now. As I said, I think it's like a shedding of a skin for you now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're all really excited to see what you're going to come up with in 2021, I suppose it'd be fair to say.
Yeah, look, the support has been great. It's again, this band started just with myself, and it didn't really kind of click until we started. Aaron joined like a year after, a couple of months even after the band, and then we kind of went through a lot of members. We found Jay and Keith, and then Mark came along, and we finally found who we are as a band, and the fact that so many people are connecting to it is incredible. So look, everyone who's a fan of the band, who supported us, or who will support us, thank you, because it means so much to us. It really does.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant stuff. Thanks again, Aaron, Mark, and Darragh. You've been listening to Horrenda, and this is Richie from the Metal Cell podcast. Support your local metal scene.